What's up guys? I'm Willie McBride and today we're going to be talking about one of the foundations of small keelboat tactics on the starting line. In Challenger Remote, I spent a lot of time talking about the specifics of dinghy and skiff starting. And while there are a lot of parallels in keelboats, there are some obvious differences. So let's get into it. Similar to the smaller boats, the one-on-one battle in keelboats is all about control. If the lure boat can stay in sync with the weather boat, they maintain control, and every mistake by the weather boat tightens the trap. If the weather boat can stay out of sync with the lured boat though, then they control their own destiny and get to make the final move to accelerate in a good spot. Here you can see what that might look like when a few good boats are next to each other on the starting line. In this case, red has done a nice job of getting in sync with blue and controlling the cycle of flow over the blades. To weather, green has also done a nice job by staying out of sync with blue, and by doing that, they've gotten to a place where they can make the final move to open up a hole close to the line. In a future video, I'll talk more about this tactical game, but the foundation of being able to execute this skill is the boat handling involved. Something I like to call the slow creep to the line. If you check out this video from overhead, you can see the fleet lining up for a start, and you actually don't see many real boat-on-boat battles being fought here. Instead, what happens is that everybody lines up, and the boats who are able to maintain more control of their own boat, sailing in that high, slow mode, come out ahead. In this case, what you see is that the teams who manage to keep their bows high to stay off of the boat to leeward, but at the same time keep speed on, are the boats that tend to have their bows clear ahead when it's time to pull the trigger. This is the slow creep to the line, and it's all about knowing when to put the bow down to build speed and when to take that speed back up. So let's look at that dynamic for a minute. Here we're on board with our team at a practice regatta before the Worlds last summer. And from inside the boat, what you'll see is a cycle where the helm lets the sails pull and gets speed on, and then takes that speed and turns it into height. So here we are coming into the line, and we have speed on here, but the windward boat puts the bow down, so we kind of need to stop, but we need to keep our bow down. And what we do here is we ease the sails to kind of slow. But as soon as we can, we're back to speed on here, and we're going to get into that high, slow creep now. So Jordan puts the helm down right there. We're high and slow, kind of using our momentum. And then once we start to get too slow, once we're too high and slow for too long, we go bow down right there just to get a little bump of speed. And then right away, bow back up. There you can see the jib luffing again. We're high and slow, but then the boat starts to slow down too much. And again, we're gonna go bow down to get speed back on. There the jib starts pulling, and this is our final cycle. So now we're going to go bow down hard, acceleration move, and then to a full close hauled upwind mode. And so that's generally what the cycle looks like. Communication between the helm and the trimmer are key to keeping everyone in sync. In general, our rule of thumb was that Jordan, the helm, was really focused on the boats around us, playing that tactical game that we talked about in the beginning. While Grant, the trimmer, kept a close eye on the speedo and the feel of the boat. If either Grant or Jordan felt like the boat was getting too slow, where we were at risk of losing steerage, somewhere between 1.2 knots in super flat light conditions, or maybe as much as 2 knots in the bumpy, breezier stuff, they would ask for speed on to bring the bow back down. You need to be careful here because the speedo lags, even on a paddle wheel. So there's no substitute for the skipper really articulating what they're feeling on the helm. When the bow comes down, the main should generally go out to ensure that it doesn't engage too soon, which can pull the boat sideways. As the jib trimmer, it's really important to develop a sense for when you can trim the jib without pulling the bow sideways. So the more speed you have on, the earlier that point's going to be. But as a general rule of thumb, if I'm trimming jib and the boat gets pretty down speed, I don't want to trim the jib inside of the splash rail. I keep it out and I let the skipper head down to engage the sail. Putting the bow down like this can be scary at first because you're burning your hull to leeward and it might feel like you're actually closing that distance, but ultimately you're going to find that you actually lose a lot less gauge in the long run because your foils are more efficient during the acceleration, and that causes you to make less leeway. In addition, you'll spend a lot less time on the speed build, which allows you to shoot to head to wind again a lot sooner. The main trimmer should largely be cueing off of the jib, because keeping the sails balanced here is a major factor in preventing the skipper from using too much helm and creating more leeway. The end result of all of these little details is that we can choose to sail higher for longer than the boats around us, or we can sail the same angle but faster than the boats around us. All of this translates to a big advantage against the fleet as a whole. As you practice this skill, the final tip that I'll give is that the tactician will want to practice communicating what I call the final cycle. This is the final head to wind, which usually happens between 35 to 20 seconds, depending on your distance from the line, the size of your hull to leeward, and your speed through the water. If everyone knows that you're on the final cycle, the next bow down mode will be the acceleration move to your full upwind mode. And if you've done your job well, you should be in the game right off the line. If you found this video helpful, please share it with your team. I hope you can use it to help discuss how to implement this on your boat. I'll be publishing more videos like this in the future, so if you want more, hit the subscribe button below.